Very interesting. Hey everyone, Pine Grove News Live. I can figure out what's going on with this thing. Tuesday or, well, I don't know. There was one day out of the week that I'd say, oh man, this is going pretty slow. And next thing you know, it's Friday, 6 o'clock on the East Coast anyway. Just a cold day. Snow on the ground. Of course, we all know about the snow, right? So, yeah, I missed Wednesday, obviously. And it's pretty funny, pretty silly. I was all set up. I even, put a reminder out there that I was going to be on. And I fell asleep. Yep. Fell asleep, man. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's one of the devil's attacks that he gives me almost daily. I mean, it used to be 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Been like that for a couple of years, at least a few years now. I'd say a few. And it was really hard to get through 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon every day. But you know what? I prayed about that. And you know what? The 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that's gone. Now it's like 3 to 5 o'clock. And it's pretty heavy. I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just keep praying. That's all we can do is pray. Maybe the Lord will, bring to mind, maybe some special diet that I need to get on or something like that to get more energy. I've tried all that. I've tried, honey and cinnamon on toast in the morning that was supposed to give me energy. Tried turmeric. I guess that's how you pronounce it. I tried a few things. So if anybody has any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment. We are, I don't know, I'm going somewhere along the line. Well, we'll see. I get pretty stuck doing the same thing over, every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you get into a rut. I just feel some kind of change that I want to bring to this newscast. Don't know what it is yet, but I am praying about it. In any case, so pretty quiet today. I mean, the only thing I got from my notes today is, do you know that a picture? Okay, well, I guess it wasn't a picture. It was actually a banana taped to a wall with duct tape, and I believe it was gray duct tape with a yellow banana. In that picture, some idiot who's got nothing else better to do with their money bought it for $120,000. These are the minds of the people who have money and just too much of it. $120,000 for a picture of a banana, or maybe he took the wall. I'm not sure. You can go home and do that for freaking probably under $10. A roll of tape now, it's getting expensive, probably $8 and 49 cents a pound for the bananas. And you can put up more than one banana. I don't know, man. Maybe it was from some artist, and in either case, it's just ridiculous. It's obscene. It's just, the times we live in. There is so many people out there with this, it's God sent, a delusion. The Democrats. Now, I don't know, there's a video out there of Pelosi on CNN, I believe it was. Hold on, let me check and see if we're live on YouTube, and we are, so that's good. CNN, I believe it was. Come on. So, yeah, it was CNN, and I don't know, it was a very fast clip, but what I got from it is that between the impeachment and the elections coming up, she said that, you know, these elections, this impeachment means, I'm just paraphrasing because I just forgot what she said, but she was talking about it's the end of humanity as we know it. If we go and select Trump again and we don't impeach him and we reelect him, it will be the end of humanity as we know it. That is just crazy. Silly, crazy, and deluded. I mean, there's a lot of these Democrats, you know, along the way, we've talked about it, that come out with these things, you know, like we've talked about AOC, you know. One time, the most recent one was Florida. Florida only had 2 years left. I mean, they are sinking. We talked about that. The whole, you know, southern East Coast is sinking. They're waterlogged, whatever. Only the Navy knows what that map's going to look like, right? And yeah, so I would advise everyone, you know, with all this talk, and it's maybe what, you know, the elite want, move out of California. Move away from the West Coast. Go inland. Something. I know you don't want to pick up your homes or you can't afford to move or whatever it is, but with all these things that are going on, if they're true, if it's not all just a propaganda stunt, I mean, you got supposedly people really saying that there are earthquakes going on out there from Washington down into, you know, Southern California. And so, but, you know, we're going to talk about, I got a clip from End Time Productions towards the end. Well, it will be the end. It's 12 minutes long. I'd like you to listen to it for one reason. We are so close to being right on cue to being the days of Noah. Okay, while other people around us are just going on as if, you know, life, that there's, you know, they're just living life, you know, eating, drinking, marrying, so on and so forth. Some people says that, you know, that means something else, but I'm going to take the Bible and that part literally, okay? That they're just going on like there's, you know, everything's okay, everything's normal. Even though we know that this world, not just the United States anymore, we are definitely on the outs and we are being punished. But the world knows, with all these things happening, with all these storms and the flooding, and I mean, it's just crazy. The earthquakes, everything's just picked up so much that we know, the ones who are of sound mind anyway, and we know that the Lord gives people their delusion, you know, gives them their lie, that they will believe that lie. And I believe that's what the Democrats, you know, what the Lord has done with the Democrats. They wanted to believe this lie so much that God made it true in their heads. That no matter what you say, they will believe that lie. That's I'm pretty sure that's what the Lord meant. So there's no turning away from that. But in any case, it's going on, that stupid impeachment thing, and I don't know what the vote was. I thought we would have had that by now. I guess they're going to continue on with it. But so be it. Let's put this out there so I don't get into trouble. This is the Fair Use Act. Because I don't know if you hear the music in the background, but hopefully the whole video won't be flagged for that. So there's the Fair Use warning there, or act. And let's go to our first piece. And basically tonight is going to be, except for a couple articles here and there, it's going to be about the church being attacked, Christians being attacked, the persecution, and so on and so forth, the falling away. Because, you know, I do believe that we are the restrainer, the church. The church is the restrainer, the Christians. one time I said it was the falling away, but no, we are falling away. There are many falling away. I believe it once, that falling away happens, I think, also that we will, the ones that believe will be raptured. I don't know when that is. Pre, post, after, whatever. Trib. I think it's great tribulation. I don't think it's just tribulation, because we do that. We've done that all our lives, go through tribulation. So I'm just going to put 1 or 2 articles out there about things that you should already know about that are in the news. This one about the jewelry heist. I guess these suspects, we're going to call them, ended up stealing a UPS truck. And I guess the update is that there are 4 dead, all from this. And there is this live video right here. And I don't know if I can play it. I will play it. I might get tagged for it, but they'll just, monetize my channel for their needs. But I'm going to play it. It's, they get shot, so be aware that they're going to get shot. And you're going to see the blurriness because this person does that. I don't know why. If I'm going to tape something, it's going to be, something you can see. See, it's already blurred. I know they're trying to focus, but.
Ahí se bajó, mira.
A esta persona, me parece que ese es el conductor de UPS. No se puede ver realmente, el enfoque no es muy preciso, pero vemos ahí que hay disparos, hay personas heridas por la
it almost looks staged, Of course, I've never really seen a person get shot dead in real life, so it's either been on the movie screen. And see, how is it blurry? I mean, even when they're focusing out and focusing in, it's blurry. Anytime you want to see something important, just like UFOs. I mean, look at all the UFO footage mostly, right? You go look at that, and it's video evidence of, unidentified flying objects. Why are they always blurry? Or at night? Or something, whatever. For the most part, that's what we find. So let's move on so I don't ruin it for you. But this one also, I was going to put this out Wednesday. It's old enough, but there's not going to be any date restriction on things like this. From Natural News, this titled here, the latest round of tests confirmed that Cheerios and other children's cereals are contaminated with Roundup. Okay, so you know that. You also should know that anything from the makers of Cheerios, General Mills, are genetically modified to begin with. They're genetically altered. I don't know why they don't use the word altered, because that's what it is. They call it modified to make it sound less vile. In any case. So there's a list down here of some of these cereals. And I love, this is the one right here, Honey Nut Cheerios. I really like that. I like Cheerios for some reason, but, I just pray over it. Because there's so much out there right now that the government is taking control of, or, giving regulations to people, or allowing, like the FDA, actually have this stuff put in there as a preservative. And it's given everybody forms of cancer and other, whatever, brain tumors and other cancers. And it's exactly what it's doing. And on top of that, it's making men sterile and women have miscarriages. Again, I've repeated that many times. And I'm still going to repeat it. General Mills, Honey Nut Cheerios. Where's the other ones? EWG's children health benchmark of 160 parts per billion of glyphosate, containing 147 parts per billion of glyphosate, according to the EWG's test. The best testing product was Nature Valley fruit and nut, and dark chocolate and nut, chewy trail mix, granola bars. I'm pretty sure, maybe I haven't. I was intended to do, I guess. Because normally I tried to buy those breakfast bars, different varieties of them, even Snickers. If you go on a label and look at the Snickers ingredients, go a little further down and it will tell you that those items are genetically or have some form of genetic modification. Snickers, which is another one of my favorites, right? Snickers, peanuts, caramel, and now but this is what they're putting in these cereals, and you are letting your children eat them. Now my children are all grown up now, but and I knew that the Cheerios anyway were genetically modified. That was the first time I've ever heard it, and I heard it on TV. And I'm saying, genetically modified, what actually does that mean? It doesn't sound good. So, and that was quite a few years ago, at least 20 years ago. This is how long that we've been putting this stuff into our systems. And you wonder why we're getting all these increases in excuse me, and the cancers. You're talking about birth defects too. You're talking about something syndrome. I can't remember the names of them right now, but there are so many of them. Alzheimer's. Then you got the dementia, but I'm talking about with kids also. A lot of this. What do you call it? Well, in any case, it's a brain malfunction. It's I don't know. I guess some people might not call it a brain malfunction, just a social malfunction, and we have that with the phones anyway. So, yeah, everybody, that's why. That's how society has changed. There's no more interaction with people, one-on-one, two-on-one, groups. They're all in their phones. The social, what do you call it? The social ingredient is gone. People don't know how to talk to other people unless they're on a phone. Yeah, we're just de-evolving. So I'm trying to look at these, find out if there's another list. I thought there were a list of these things, but and that's the thing. I understand. Please just pray over your food. God will not let these things affect you. He will take these things and turn them into good things. He will take what was meant for bad for you and make it good for you. You just have to remind yourself and keep. Of course, I do. Sometimes especially during the fall when working in the winter, I eat more. A lot of people do. We, especially over here in New England. It's kind of like a bear putting on fat for the winter so they can hibernate. Basically the same principle. That's when I gain the most weight. Yeah, in the fall. But yeah, so what I was saying is sometimes I forget to pray and that I eat so much. It's not just eating the whole meals; it's the snacks in between, and I do a lot of praying on my food, and we all need to do that. Remember to do that, right? All right, let's get into the persecution. And this was all supposed to go on Wednesday, and we'll just try to get through it real quick. The things that are happening with the church, the Catholic Church especially. There's still a lot of Catholics that are still like being Catholics. And we can get into a whole talk about why that is. But in any case, from End Time Headlines, Catholic Church facing 5,000 new sex abuse cases. Yeah. LB or LGBTQ. Man, that list is getting longer and longer. The group's calls on Hallmark Channel to broadcast a gay Christmas. Yeah, it's not, it's bad enough that, of course, you know my opinion on Christmas. There's nothing wrong with the season. The way people are just normally a little happier, a little cheerier. It's the season, But the Bible even talks about the Christmas trees. I mean, do we need Christmas trees? But we've gotten into a habit. Everyone's doing it, so we're going to do it. He talks about it. I think it's in Jeremiah. He talks about the Christmas trees. And I've mentioned that before. I mean, I have no problem with people celebrating Christmas. The birth of Jesus. Even though he never asked to be, and we don't really know. And some people claim that they do now. The exact date and everything else. But they don't. Maybe the Jews have some kind of date written down. But when everything merged back with Constantine and, the Nicene Council picking their books that they wanted into the canon, the Bible, a lot of stuff got lost and a lot of stuff got merged together with the Catholic religion and the pagan rituals that they do, like the 12 days of Christmas, Saturnalia, and all that other stuff that is just merged into the Christmas holiday. So anyways, yeah. And so here's the picture, okay? I have nothing against gay people. I have nothing against any person. It's the sin. It's the sin for anything. It's my sins. It's your sins. We need to remind each other that we are sinning. If we don't realize it, we are to rebuke one another. And as World Watchman said one time in the latest email that he posted, yeah, iron sharpening iron. So anyway, and this is in our TVs, in our, in this programming that they're putting out there, and it is programming. I mean, that's the word for it. Programmed me for 50 odd years. They have put out there in every commercial, in every show that's out there, every new episode, they have and they show men and women, especially men. It's very offensive to me to see two men kissing on TV. I mean, heck, I grew up in a time. Of course, it was black and white TV, and we were, driving around in wagon wheels. Nah, not really, but yeah. Well, I was watching TV. Dick Van Dyke. I mean, these two people were supposed to be married, and they had separate beds. Yeah, so never figured that out until obviously later on when I could think for myself. So yeah, it's everywhere. It's getting worse, and it's being incorporated. There's supposedly 6% of this population, how it infiltrates and affects and just sinks into your psyche. But that's what they want you to do. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely everything wrong with it. It's just sin, the sin, and we know about that. It's the unnatural use. God speaks about it. So the substitute teacher, and this is also from End Time Headlines, substitute teacher removed after rebuking boy with two dads. Yeah, she was removed. So anyway, the substitute teacher berated a Utah fifth grader after he said during a pre-Thanksgiving lesson that he was thankful he's finally got to be adopted by his 2 dads. Parents said. So the boy's classmates said that the teacher told him that's nothing to be thankful for, and lectured the 30 kids in the class about her views on homosexuality. Good for her. But then again, you know what happens to people like that. And this is the course. This is what I want you to see more of just today. For now, I'm always going to put some of these, in the news. That this is the battle that we are going through. And it's a spiritual battle. It's not a physical battle. Of course, we all battle our flesh, but that's another thing. Yeah, so in any case, I could never understand in the beginning when this first started coming out. I mean, they still, adoption agencies giving 2 women or 2 men children. I mean, that's just wrong to begin with. Now, if you go into the Bible and you read in Genesis about, what God had in mind as a marriage, and that was Adam and Eve, obviously male and female. That's it. There are no other genders. Sorry, there's only 2. No matter what you try to do with your body, your holy temple after. Christian evangelist murdered in Turkey sparks fear among Christians. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on over there. And it just grows more and more every day. Ihan Omar, I don't know how you pronounce her first name. I don't care. Ihan Omar leads Catholic Church in Muslim prayer. Are you serious, Catholics? I like to talk to the Catholics after that sermon went on. I mean, really? I mean, what, did the Pope pay a visit to them or something? What does a Muslim prayer or a Muslim in a Catholic church have to do with each other? They're totally, well, I don't know. The way the Catholic religion is these days, herself reciting a Muslim prayer in front of the altar of a Catholic church. And anyway, so over 20 congressmen attended the event. And we all know, politicians. And this is why, I cannot stand politicians and I cannot stand politics because they're all liars. They're all thieves, killers, murderers. They all are. Somewhere along the line, if they're not now, they will be either tempted into submission or they're gone. It's a den of thieves, vipers. And it's funny, when you look at it, the Democrats, accusing Trump of, talking about whatever they're going through, the Ukraine, the military aid, whatever. To find some information about Biden. I mean, at the time, Biden was not running for presidency. He was not considering it. I mean, this was way before that. So how could they think that he was thinking about? Anyways, it's just crazy. And, they're all liars. All of them. So all this is doing is, I don't know what the Democrats are doing. They're just trying to keep our attention on this and Trump and saying how bad Trump is. And yeah, the society's not going to continue if Trump is reelected and crap like that. And you talk about interference in an election, all those Democrats, that's what they're doing. Carrying it on for 2.5 years, one investigation after the other. Come on, people. Well, this is not about the church, but this is good news. I mean, Israel, you talk about blessings. But before this disappears, and we've heard about this before, and these scientists somewhere along the way are getting shut up. But Israeli scientists able to treat deadly pancreatic cancer in 14 days. That is such awesome news. I mean, I pretty much believe that we already have the cure to these cancers. I mean, in any case, we won't get into that because that could be another talk in itself. Obviously, a lot of these things can be just branched off. That's why, once in a while I get into just go off in another direction. Somebody needs to be here to, tap me on the head. Hey, going somewhere else. Yep. So Israeli scientists, I mean, they are blessed people. Yeah, they are. And we are too. Church of Sweden replaces Adam and Eve in paradise with gay couples. So there you have it. They're trying to change everything. That's the devil's sole purpose. I mean, first of all, he can't stand us. He wants us all dead. But he wants us dead and going to hell too. And he takes everything that God makes. And God makes, whatever God makes, he makes for good. Go look at the creation story. The first 6 days where he made everything. Everything that he made is good. And that's what the devil tries to do. Tries to make everything that God made and turn it upside down. Church of Sweden. Of course, we know about Sweden and some other places over there. We know about their little tunnel system that they had that really freaky ceremony over there by CERN, I guess, in Switzerland. In any case. Yeah, Church of Sweden replaces Adam and Eve in paradise with gay couples. The church in Malmo has a new altarpiece meant to celebrate inclusivity by replacing Adam and Eve in paradise with gay couples and suggested poses while depicting the serpent tempting them as a transgender woman. All right, that's enough of that. Army bans faith-based company from making inspirational dog tags after atheists complain. Now, I mean, it's almost a given. Anytime an atheist complains about some kind of faith or religious belief, now all of a sudden we got to fix that and stop it. Just because an atheist who doesn't believe in God, only in himself, complains. So now these soldiers can't have inspirational verses from the Bible on their dog tags. How does that happen? It's the time we live in, man. That's just the time we live in. Yeah. A private faith-based company, and they're all being under, every one of them that's going to be under attack. Yeah, and just a reminder that, Apophis, that is in Revelation. Apollo, the destroyer of worlds. So is the chief demon of chaos coming to attack the world in April 2029? We'll have to see. And you know what? It's only about 9 years and a half a month away. Yeah, and there are other things. You still got that 2024 where the solar eclipse makes that X right across America. That's only in about 4 years and a month or half a month. Yeah, so a lot of these things that they're kind of ramping up. If you, I'm trying to remember the name of this YouTuber, Truth Plain or Plain Truth, not a Plain Truth, but Plain Truth, PLAN. She does the FAA cams in Canada and Alaska. or she goes over them. Apparently, she ends up finding a lot of things, and I actually, have to give her kudos for that. I mean, painstakingly going through that, and she apparently is a Christian. She gives an altar call at the end of her videos. And she talks about these planets that are here, the solar system, and she points out these planets. She points out that the sun simulator, the fake sun, and how you could recognize that. But at the moment, it's plain truth. PLANETRUTH. I mean, it might be something else, but go look her up, man. She's pretty good. I don't believe all of it, just like everything is. My problem. Yeah, this we just went through. The Chief Demon Chaos. What's this one? Chick-fil-A, a now funded radical anti-Christian group that inspired a violent killer to target innocents. Wow, that's a big claim for Chick-fil-A. That's from National News. After announcing that it will no longer be supporting faith-based nonprofit organizations like Fellowship of Christian Athletes and the Salvation Army, fast food giant Chick-fil-A has decided instead to support a far-left Southern Poverty Law Center, which back in 2012 inspired domestic terrorist Floyd Corkins to attempt mass murder at the headquarters of the Family Research Council. Ironically enough, Corkins reportedly stormed the FRC's Washington, D.C. building armed with a semi-automatic pistol, 100 rounds of ammunition, and 15 Chick-fil-A sandwiches. The reason for the sandwiches, according to the statement later made by Corkins to the FBI, was that he wanted to kill the people in the building and then smear a Chick-fil-A sandwich on their face. Yeah, well, that's another reason I want you to listen to that video from End Time Productions. Let's see if this one right here. And this is an interview or somebody who sat down with End Time Productions. His name is Derek Gilbert of Skywatch TV. And he talks about the Nephilim and, what to expect with that. And, as much as I personally try to stay away from that because I don't think I'm strong enough, I know that, through Jesus Christ, that not me, but the Holy Spirit, through me, can rebuke these spirits. And I often, I can't say that often. I have done it before, rebuked spirits, blessed this house, rebuked anything that was in it to get it out. And I believe by faith that was done. But as far as facing these demons, one-on-one, face-to-face, so to speak, no, I don't. I let other people who, because we're all in different levels in our walks. And there are some other people that are stronger in that area than I am, at least. And we all have our like I said, our different gifts, so to speak. Gifts of the Holy Spirit, if you. And I believe that would be a gift of the Holy Spirit, being able to excise or get rid of demons that are in people. I mean, we should be doing this as Christians, like the apostles did. I mean, it's just another thing that I'd like to talk about someday. Why, all these things the apostles were able to do, and some of the other disciples that were able to do. They were able to heal people and, remove demons from people and even raise the dead. Now, why can't we do that today? And I know some people claim that they're doing it, and there are a lot of good actors out there. But personally, I mean, yeah, maybe I definitely have not seen any of that. I don't understand why. Well, like let's just talk about this at another time because it's going to take a while. And but in any case, pray for those who have that gift, that it continues, obviously, and pray for. We all need to pray for each other and pray for yourself to get stronger. That the Lord, make you stronger in areas that you need to be. And obviously the Holy Spirit will, through you and Jesus Christ, work that out. You'll find out. And I do agree that I am weaker in that area. So, but we need to be stronger all the way around. So U.S. Congresswoman compares U.S.-Mexican border to Israeli oppression in Gaza. There's your other Muslim candidate. That's from World Israel News. So she goes on to say, do you know that what I saw at the border? I saw Gaza. Tlaib told the American Muslims for Palestine Conference. Yeah. That's what she sees on our southern border, Gaza. I mean, she's an American, right? I'm sure she has made some trips on our dollar, to go to Gaza, to stand there on the border and see. In any case, that's another subject as well. That own a little battle that's been going on there for a long time. Iran orders U.S. to pay $130 billion in reparations. Yeah, $130 billion. Well, we paid him off that. I thought we already paid him. Didn't Obama pay him? The last 2 weeks of his I don't know what you call it, whatever he did, infiltration, giveaway, put pallets of money on the tarmac in Iran of American money. And yeah, it's just cheap paper. I mean, you can make a lot of it. Yeah, so Iran's demand for hard currency comes on the same day that its military leaders issued new threats to annihilate the United States, Israel, Britain, and Saudi Arabia. Oh, yeah, and besides that, I don't know if I have it here. I might have it somewhere about that that military base. Apparently was a student from Saudi Arabia who killed those 4 people. Well, I don't know if that's the same story, so I don't know how many have dead. I thought that 4 people in the beginning was. Anyways, I might have got that mixed up. Yeah. Government has ordered the United States to pay $130 billion in reparations to citizens it says has been harmed by the Trump administration's tough sanctions policy on Tehran. Yeah, I don't know what to think, people. I mean, maybe I have the wrong friends. I don't know. But, I always try to keep in contact with our Muslim friends. I talked to some person that I met somewhere, in Skype, and he says that all those protests are made up. They're just like the ones that we had here in the United States, where they were funded by certain people to create this havoc. But I don't know. I mean, even Admir says that hundreds of people were killed over there, but I don't know how would he know any more than anybody else, unless he was standing on the front line. But in any case, so we need to be, aware of the propaganda that's out there, the things that certain powers that be do in order to propagate or to instigate wars, okay? The war machine. Now, obviously, our next target is Iran. I mean, we've hit just about everyone else, right? Iraq, Afghanistan, so on and so forth. In any case. Yeah, I don't even know what this is. There's no title. Okay. Common Core U.S. students perform 4 grade levels behind Chinese students in math. Yeah, well, that is one reason. This is from News Punch. That is one reason why we have Common Core. First of all, to not teach as much American history and other things that they should be taught. They don't know how to write their name in cursive. You know the thing that we're all taught in like 3rd or 4th grade? You know, to write in cursive? I mean, how are they going to sign their names? I mean, you know that once, that's another thing to look for, okay? This generation, which is my grandkids, okay? My grandkids do not know how to write cursive. So that means that they're not going to be writing checks. They're not going to be signing their names, everything. It's digitally, right? I know, it just, I'm dumbfounded that they have not learned how to sign their name in cursive. Because that is our signature. That is us by our signature. I mean, people write just like I mean, well, people can forge, but that is a signature. Go look up the definition of signature. That is us in our name. Anyways, no, they're just going to be using fingerprints, I guess. That's it, you know. Fingerprints, eye scans, facial recognition, all good stuff. Right. All good stuff. Yeah, this is also from the New Punch. I could believe this. New York City high school students strike to protest too many white students. Yeah, this is just the craziness that goes on. I mean, really? Too many white students? I mean, I think they're like, you know, anyways, trying to turn everything upside down. Yeah, this is one of these stories, okay? That you really just can't. Well, people say you can't make this stuff up, but you most certainly can. I never really understood that. You can't make this stuff up? Sure you can. You can make all of it up. So anyways, this woman is awarded $20,000 after she was arrested for not holding an escalator handrail. That's right. So in one of the most ridiculous cases of public outreach we've ever seen, and I've seen a couple of them, an innocent woman was placed under arrest and cited for disobeying a sign recommending that individuals on escalator hold the handrail. Now, after fighting for justice for years, Bella Kosian is finally seeing justice. The incident unfolded when Kosia was in the Monitorium metro station. As this innocent woman rode the escalator. Yeah, so anyways, I don't need to read any more of it. I mean, I can't even, you know, I can just go on and on and on about how ridiculous that is. Just like you can't collect your own rainwater, your own water that comes on your property. I don't understand. Well, I mean, I know what's happening to them. People are just, you know, making laws to oppress the masses. Anyway, just ridiculous. I mean, California is coming up with a lot of those laws their own self, and then it spreads out. China continues monitoring mobile phones, flagging phrases like Almighty God. Yeah. A former employee of one of the China's largest technology firms, China Mobile Online Services, recently revealed how the communist country's government is manipulating public opinion by monitoring citizens' mobile phones. And we've heard this before. So this is basically an update. The telecommunications firm is a subsidiary of China Mobile Limited. An unnamed ex-employee, referred to as Mr. Lee, told the religious Liberty magazine, Bitter Winter, there is simply no privacy in China, where smartphones are primarily devices for accessing the internet. Yes, people, come on. How many? You guys know that, right? You're not stupid. You do know that the phone is a way for them to monitor you. You have GPS, most people on their phones. They know exactly where you are. They got cameras that they can look at you. They got other things. There's 5G that's going to be able to see if you have a gun or a knife or anything else in your pockets while it x-rays you. Yeah, microwaves, cooks, yeah. I mean, yeah, man. What do you think the smart TVs and all that stuff, smart appliances come out for? Yeah, they want to know, first of all, what you're doing, what you're buying, so that they can sell you more of it. Put, commercials. You could be watching commercials just for you while your neighbor's watching commercials just for them. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons. The other reason is just to keep an eye on you. Especially, like the title says there, you're saying things like Almighty God. Yeah. Pastor repents. This is from End Time Headlines. Pastor repents to LGBT. Now, see, I don't know what all these things stand for. The LGBT. See, in the other article, there was an LGBTQ. Now, I don't know what they stand for. I don't know. I really don't care, but and I just had just a flash there of, why don't I know that? Anyways, he welcomes them anyway to his church, which is just fine. They're people just like us. They're just obviously confused, misinformed, not awake, or just don't believe in God. Why they're going to a church, I don't know. I mean, a lot of these LGBTQ people actually think that God says it's okay. I'd like for them, one of them, point out somewhere where it says that in the Bible. Oh, we don't read the Bible. That was written by men. Yeah, it's all messed up. I don't take that. It's written by man. But they'll read other books and swear by them. Like creation versus evolution. Both are faith-based. There's no fact in the evolution theory. Anyway, so he has issued this public apology to his LGBT community. He denounced Christians who have spread hate and haven't shown love to the LGBT people who come to church, Peck says. Please forgive me and everyone I represent who was hurt you in the name of religion, no matter how well-meaning they have been. It's not the way of Jesus, and I deeply apologize and am sorry. Yet, Peck didn't change his theology. Instead of mapping out a biblical third way between bigotry and celebration. And why wouldn't Jesus say something about it? He most certainly would say something about it. I mean, why wouldn't he? He came to preach to the sinners. He would definitely tell these sinners that they are sinning. Yeah. And give them the opportunity to repent and sin no more. That's what Jesus, one of the things he came here to do. Know that they, no matter what they've done, no matter what sin, you can be forgiven of it. But in your heart and in your doing, which means you repent and you change your ways. Do what's right. And so we're into the season, with these nativity scenes. And so this one at a Christmas show, this live nativity scene dropped from the grade school Christmas show. Yeah. Wonder what kind of a Christmas show that would be. Probably have a couple that's not the right couple, if you know what I mean. I don't know. So a lot of that is going on. And so I'm going to let this play for the next 12 minutes, 15 seconds. Let me set up Mixler to hear that. And then that'll be it. It's a 12-minute, 15-second clip. And like I said, I do think you would benefit from listening to this. Take it, listen to it now, or when I get the video uploaded, you can download the link because I will have it in there.
Travelers in the Old Testament were spirits that would travel or cross over from one plane of existence to another. In other words, the realm of the dead to the land of the living. When the Nephilim returned, it would literally be an army of the evil dead, like the ultimate zombie apocalypse. Now, I believe that the Nephilim will return. I believe they're going to be the demons who possess a human army. When the Nephilim return, and we understand that the Nephilim, the spirits of the Nephilim that were destroyed in the days of Noah, in the flood, were barred entrance into the afterlife, into the netherworld, into heaven, basically condemned to roam the earth. That was the belief of the early church. That was the belief of the Jews in the time of Jesus and through all, the Old Testament period. It wasn't until Augustine in about the 5th century that belief went away. He also basically turned the church away from believing that the Nephilim had been created at all. Ezekiel, though, saw it. And this is the thing. God bless people like L.A. Marzulli who've been, teaching this for a long time. He's right. The Nephilim are returning. Where I differ with L.A., and I've got to give him credit, because without him and his book Nephilim, which was a novel that got me down this path, I wouldn't be here right now. But I think Ezekiel 39 is a clue. But you got to understand the worldview of the prophets to understand what Ezekiel was writing. In Ezekiel 39, he's writing about the culmination of the war of Gog and Magog. And Gog was the Old Testament Antichrist figure. Okay, he is the figure that John in the book of Revelation calls the Antichrist. That is the same war that culminates with the Battle of Armageddon, which is fought for the Har Moed, God's mountain assembly, which is Zion, the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Ezekiel says, God said that he will prepare a place in Israel for burial of Magog, the forces of Magog. The valley of the travelers east of the sea refers to east of the Dead Sea, and it will block the travelers. The key is understanding that travelers in the Old Testament concept, the Old Testament world, were spirits that would travel or cross over from one plane of existence to another. In other words, the realm of the dead to the land of the living. The places where he identifies east of the Dead Sea are places that during the Exodus, the stations of the Exodus, refer to a couple of places that are named for these interactions with the spirit realm. One of the stops in the Exodus, one of the stations of the Exodus is called Ovoth, which means spirits of the dead. It's based on a root word Ov, which means medium. The medium of Endor that Saul went to see was the Ov of Endor. In fact, one of the giants killed by David's men, Ishbi, they condensed the word. Ishbi Benab is how it looks to us in English. Ishbi Ben Ov, Ishbi, son of the necromancer, son of the medium. And he was of the descendants of the Rapha, the sons of the Rephaim. The Rephaim were these spirits that the Amorites, the Canaanites, believed were the spirits of the mighty men who were of old, the ancestors of their kings. They were called in Canaanite texts, called by scholars the Rephaim texts, written about the time of the Judges, where these Rephaim were summoned through necromancy rituals to the tabernacle of El, Mount Hermon, where El, they believed, would speak words of revivification to resurrect these spirits that were called warriors of Baal. And in these texts, they're described as warriors. They mount their chariots and they travel first one day and then another. And at dawn of the third day, they arrive to be resurrected. like Jesus, who went down and preached and proclaimed to the spirits in prison until dawn of the third day, when he arrived, except that he really was resurrected. And Ezekiel, in Ezekiel 39 says, this is where these travelers will be buried. Another one of the stops on the, in fact, the mountain where Moses was led by God to get his only view of the Holy Land, the Promised Land. Climb this mountain of the Afarim. In Hebrew, that means travelers. Mount Nebo is the mountain of the travelers. It's right there across from Jericho in the plains of Moab. And that's where this demonic army will fall. Now, I believe that the Nephilim will return. I believe they're going to be the demons who possess a human army. I think by this point, the restrainer will have been removed. The church will be removed. So I pray on that we won't be here for that day, because that's the day of Armageddon. And when this demonic army comes against Jerusalem to try to claim God's Mount of Assembly, just like Lucifer in Isaiah 14, I will establish my Mount of Assembly on Mount Zaphon, raise himself above the stars, the angels of God. On that day, when God personally takes the battlefield, which Ezekiel describes, the travelers will be destroyed. And interestingly, in that verse in Ezekiel 39, he says, then the world will know I am the Holy One in Israel. That phrase is similar to the one that we see in the Old Testament many times. The Holy One of Israel. Ezekiel 39, after he destroys the Antichrist army in the war, the battle of Armageddon that ends the war of Gog and Magog, he becomes the Holy One in Israel because he's on the battlefield. I mean, the Nephilim have always been here. If they're the spirits of those who died in the flood 6,000 years ago, they've always been with us, because demons have always been with us. But on that day, they will be inhabiting the bodies of I believe, this army that comes against Israel. It will literally be an army of the evil dead. Like the ultimate zombie apocalypse. God puts a stop to it. And what does it mean when Ezekiel writes in Ezekiel 39:11, it will block the travelers? The word translated block is only used one other place in the Bible. It's in Deuteronomy, the verse that talks about thou shalt not muzzle an ox when he treads out the grain. Muzzle. I'm not quite sure what that means, but if we take it in context of what Paul tells us in 1 Corinthians 15, that we shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed, we will be resurrected. Maybe that's what God is saying. I will block the travelers. They're dead, and they are staying dead when the rest of us are resurrected into new glorified bodies. In Isaiah 14, Lucifer, which is really kind of a mistranslation. The Hebrew is Halel ben Shachar, which means light bringer, son of the dawn. Shachar was actually a deity in the Canaanite religion of dawn. But when Jerome translated the Bible into the Vulgate translation, he used the Roman, or the Latin equivalent of light bringer, lux ferris, light bringer. And we English speakers have just sort of adopted that as a personal name, Lucifer. Well, again, it really just means light bringer. Baal, the storm god, who was the chief god, the king of the gods, called a son of El in the Canaanite religion, but he became the king of the gods by defeating the god of death and defeating the god of the sea. Similar to the tension in Greek mythology, by the way, between the storm god Zeus, the god of the sea, Poseidon, and the god of death, Hades. In Canaanite religion, Baal had to defeat the god of death, Mot, and the god of the sea, called Yam, in order to become the king of the gods. In the New Testament, Jesus, confronted by the Pharisees, says, he's casting out demons by the power of Beelzebul, which means Baal the prince. Baal the prince of demons, I guess. Jesus also, in Revelation 2, in the letter to the church of Pergamum, says, I know where you live, it's where Satan's seat dwells. It's where Satan dwells. Satan's seat in Pergamum. Well, that was the great altar of Zeus, who, like Baal, was a storm god. The Greeks got their religion from the Canaanites. So, Satan to Jesus, and Jesus, by the way, replying to the Pharisees, connected Beelzebul, Baal the prince, to Satan. So Jesus identified the storm god as Satan. Isaiah 14, storm god Lucifer. So yes, Lucifer is Baal, is Satan. But Isaiah 14 says that what he was trying to do was to establish his mount of assembly in the heights of the north, the sides of the north, the uttermost north. There are a few English translations that actually get it right. This actually points back to the mountain that was sacred to the storm god, Baal. or Hadad was his proper name. Baal just means Lord, which sort of became a proper name over time. But it was also considered sacred to the storm gods of the Hurrians, called Pesher, the storm god of the Hittites, called Harhus, the storm god of the Greeks, called Zeus, actually fought a major battle there against the god of chaos, Typhon, at Mount Zephon. Well, the phrase in Isaiah 14, translated sides of the north, heights of the north, uttermost north, Yarkate Zephon, is only used 3 times in the Bible. There, Psalm 48, where Mount Zephon was compared to Mount Zion, that mountain, Mount Zephon, was so important to the Hebrews because it was so important to their neighbors in Canaan that Zephon became the word for the compass point north. In every other Semitic language from the ancient Near East, the word for north is Simal. But in Hebrew, it's Zephon. That's how important that was because of its relationship to that god. So, El became the generic term for God in the Semitic world. In fact, it became so prominent that some scholars now are convinced that the name of the old god of the Sumerians, Enlil, which they used to believe was based on the Sumerian words En, which means Lord, and Lil, which means wind or ether or something. They're now believing that that's actually just a corruption of the Semitic Il-Ilu, meaning God of gods. That in other words, instead of being a Sumerian god, that Enlil, who was then replaced by Marduk in the Babylonian cosmology, which they just inherited from the Sumerian, more or less, was actually a Semitic god who was brought from the northwest, where we find Dagon, same god, different name, El, same god, different name, Kumarli of the Hurrians and Hittites, same god, different name, Baal-Hamon of the Phoenicians, same god, different name. Their points of origin all point to northern Syria or southern Turkey, not far from the mountain where Baal the storm god, was supposed to have built his temple, Mount Zephon. So this old god, this El or Il-Ilu, god of gods, this old, I argue, is actually Kronos of the Greeks, Saturn of the Romans, king of the Titans, who, like the Watchers from Mount Hermon, was condemned to Tartarus. 2 Peter 2:4 says that the angels who sinned were thrust down to hell. That's how most English translations read. But the Greek word translated hell is actually Tartarati, which means Tartarus, thrust down to Tartarus. In the Greek mind, that's a different place from Hades. That's a special level of netherworld prison reserved for the old gods, supernatural threats to the divine order.
Well, there you have it, folks. God bless you all. Enjoy your Sabbath. You do that. Let's see if I can get out of here. And be good to each other. Be kind to each other. And look out for each other. So with that, everyone, God bless and peace out.